You were raising your hand to straighten me out, and did you have some qualifications or questions?
I'll admit that everyone else's questions sound a great deal more intelligent than mine, but
we don't know that yet. We haven't heard yours.
Well, okay. I'm just owning my self-consciousness.
Okay.
You made a comment that said, well, most, traditional meditation was designed by men staring at walls. And I kind of related to that totally, because I'm thinking, okay, I'm a woman. I want to hold something. I want to touch something. I don't want to stare at a wall.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering, I'm just curious what you think would happen if women had designed this meditation, and would it lead to the same kind of enlightenment?
Yeah.
I mean, would it turn pagan instead of Buddhist?
Yeah.
I'm curious.
Yeah. Well, let's explore it a little bit and see if it makes sense to you. And we were giving kind of a generic overview. That's also, if you actually look at some of the female mystics, particularly in the West, the idea is that on the side of the witness, ultimately you want to get to equanimity. In other words, nothing moves you, in other words. And actually, even in common parlance, the measure of a man, again, this can be overdone, the measure of a man is his unflappability. He's not supposed to just blow with the wind. He's supposed to be a source of strength and presence and depth. And that's what women tend to count on from men. They want men to hold a space in which they can shine or move or play or radiate. Or be hysterical. I mean, and if the man can't handle that, then the woman is deeply disappointed, because he's going to react, and you're going to get into this endless fight about you don't love me and I don't love you and all of that. So ultimately, what you want is a man who can hold this depth and this space, some sort of equanimity. Now, it doesn't mean cut off from feelings or anything, but it does mean having that kind of unmovable awareness in which these things are arising. And that's part of getting very close to sort of this absolute one taste, where you're one with everything, and so of course you accept everything exactly as it's happening. But there are a lot of steps getting up to that pure equanimity on the masculine side. If you look at some of the women mystics who got outside of the male system and started doing their version of mysticism in the flesh, and what they would do, the exercises they would do in order to get to that same degree of, really intense capacity to taste everything with one taste, to see everything in the universe as something that can be touched equally and loved equally. Mother Teresa her statement was famous: love until it hurts. That's a classic female way to do it. It's going to be pagan if you stop merely loving. If you stop your loving at the merely gross realm. But if you carry it into subtle and causal, it's going to be just, in my opinion, just as advanced as a masculine carrying equanimity into it. Specific examples of this were nurses who were mystics in the Middle Ages, and they would, sounds gross, but bear with me, they would lick and suck the wounds of lepers. It's that kind of love until it hurts, showing a radical acceptance of everything that's arising moment to moment, and in a sense kissing the wounds in order to cleanse them. This actual practice that was done. That's the equivalent of a man sitting in a wall and not blinking for 8 hours. It's an intense, extreme way to get over your belief that some things are good and some things are bad in the phenomenal world. You have to get to the point where they're all equally radiance of the divine. And kissing a leper is a good test. Kissing some of my friends would be a good test too. But if you want to try that, I can start you out with some. We have a starter kit of female mysticism if you want to do that, and a lot of volunteers in the front row. I want to tell you. But we don't have nearly as many examples of that we can sort of try to make some conclusions from as we do men staring at walls. But I think it makes a certain kind of sense. In other words, where men want to go through extremes of not moving, extremes of being able to undergo sweat lodges and almost torturous meditation and not move, because they're really trying to get a taste of this unmoved mover, this witness that can actually stay awake through all three, waking, dream, and deep sleep. The female side tended to be the same kind of intense expressions, but expressed through love. And I think Mother Teresa, again, was really, if you saw some of the stuff she was doing with the students, with the sick people in Calcutta, it really is a living embodiment of one taste, of really being able to just relate to these people as a direct manifestation of the divine. And that's sort of almost as extreme is what I'm trying to say, as the man not moving for 8 hours. Does that make a little bit of sense? Yeah. Much more than that we don't know a lot about, because we're just starting to study this side of it. And I don't think that, I think it's misleading to say patriarchy repressed these other things. I just don't think it quite works like that. It's just there wasn't enough women that due to social circumstances would pursue something like that. So I think we're in a period of kind of rebalancing it and studying it. But if I was working on a master's or PhD or something like that, that's one of the first things that I would examine. And there are a handful of books that actually go into that. And if you email me, talk to my assistant Colin, and email me, I'll give you 2 or 3 of them. One has to do also with holy anorexia, which is really a similar kind of thing. I think it's called Holy Feast, Holy Famine. But several of these books go into those very intense modes of female love. Love until it hurts. Helped a little bit. And that was one of the most intelligent questions so far.
Thank you.
Thank you.